So what's up, man?
What's up, bro?
How was traffic getting over here?
Traffic is traffic. It's LA. It was not. It wasn't
Look,
good.
life is back in action. You know what I'm saying?
Back in full action.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just giving stay in the house or Uber.
She says get to stay in the house. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like you said, you coming from like North Hollywood?
Yes, the Valley, love-hate relationship, but
Yeah.
whew, it was a minute. So yeah.
That's crazy, man. So tell me a little bit, like, where you from?
Okay, so originally from New Jersey.
Okay.
I'm from South Jersey. I just say that because nobody knows what part of Jersey I'm really
So
from.
okay? I always hear Newark. Where's?
Newark is North Jersey.
Oh, North. Okay.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I just say I'm from Jersey because I've lived all over New Jersey,
Okay.
but I spent a lot of like my teenage and adult years in like North Jersey. My
Okay.
college that I went to is like 10, 15 minutes away from Newark.
Okay.
Got mad family in Newark, East Orange, all over Jersey for real.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I be in New York low key, like I'm a little New York girl.
Oh man, that's dope though, man. That's crazy. I mean, what? I know 3 people now from New York. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Up north. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
dope. So little icebreaker. I do this thing where I ask people like, where is their mental, health, like between like a 1 and 10, 10 being the highest. Like, where would you say your mental is right now
That's
within
great.
this year?
Within the year, okay, because
Yeah.
I was gonna say if it's the week. Oh no.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, within the year, I would say like a 7.
A 7.
Yeah.
Why a 7?
7 because I've been consistent with my faith walk and my prayer life, but also just being stretched like never before. So it comes with a lot of turmoil, a lot of emotions, but
Yeah.
we getting it done. We do what we got to do. So.
I mean, yeah, as long as you just making strides, to where to your goals, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That's always good.
Yeah.
And we talking about faith today.
Yes, I know. And I was like, whew. Faith is definitely one of those things that I've been, I don't want to say struggling with, but being stretched in.
Yeah.
I mean, even just moving to Los Angeles was like a huge faith
I
walk
was
for
gonna
me.
ask you about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like born and raised South Jersey, spent majority of my life on the East Coast, all of my life technically, and then I
Yeah.
just felt led to come to LA, and we're here, and that was, I would say, the start of a next level of faith, and it's an
Yeah.
ongoing journey.
Dang. So, how was your childhood? And the reason why I'm asking about your childhood is because did you see anybody else deal with faith growing up? Like, did they have struggles? Mom and dad, grandma, sister, brothers? Like.
Yeah, so growing up, I was raised by my grandma.
Oh, okay.
I was raised by a couple people.
It takes a village.
It takes a village,
You know what
for
I'm saying?
sure. By the grace of God, like, my family stepped in to just all take parts of just being able to help raise me and other siblings. Since my mother and my dad, like, they could come in when they could, due to health issues. But I've absolutely, like, my faith, I always give credit to my grandma. Like, she taught me at a very young age, Asa, you gotta pray.
She a pillar.
Yeah, you gotta extend love. Like, she's taught me Christ's love before I knew any type of love. So, watching her just be a grandmother, the backbone of the family, I definitely learned a lot of my faith walk from just watching her and talking with her and listening to her. Being around the elders, learning so much. So, absolutely had that example from her.
That's good. Did you have any like trying times, like far as with faith growing up?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, growing up with so many different, like, in so many different households and kind of like jumping from area to area based on like who was like, taking care of me. There were a lot of like struggles with faith of like, okay, God, like, who am I? Why am I one of the only black girls in this school? I'm told that I need to be here to do better, but I don't feel like I fit in.
Yeah.
Not understanding the difference between my family from the hood versus my family living in an affluent area. I had to learn how to balance both.
Yeah.
I had to learn how to speak 2 languages. And it was,
Word?
yeah.
What other language you speak?
It's 2 languages, like
Oh,
street
you
talk.
you talking about street talk. I was about to say, are you bilingual?
I
Yeah.
can speak a little bit of Chinese.
Oh.
Just a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so It definitely was a journey.
Yeah.
But I think that growing up, I had to learn how to take care of myself and had to learn how to walk that faith walk at a very young age. Because if not,
Yeah.
I don't know where I would be right now.
Yeah, that's crazy. You even talked about the two, because you caught me off guard with the two languages. But that is a real thing, because like I'm trying to learn the other, like, because come from the hood, like how you
Yes.
said, like, but you got to learn that at a young age, so you was able to, like, it's like they call it code switching.
Yes.
Like for me, it'd be hard. Like
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard, but after a while, you kind of like just turn it on, turn it off.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying.
It could be exhausting though too.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful. I used to not understand why I would have to do that. But growing up now where I am, I've experienced so many things in different spaces and conversations with people, whether if it's family or just neighbors from the hood. Like, I'm able to bring in perspective into the rooms and spaces that I'm in to say, hey, like, let's consider this. Let's consider these type of people. And I've also been able to just be a resource to a lot of my family who they might just only see their environment. They don't see what they can be outside of that. So
kind of living in that box to where the only thing you see is what you see, and you don't. I remember living in Compton, and I never knew what LA looked like. And Compton is a part of LA.
Wow.
But like LA was like a different world. Like I remember my old best friend, his dad. I didn't know what his dad. You seen Martin?
Martin, like on
The
television?
show.
Oh yeah.
So you know when what's called, he talk about, I got work. And
Yes.
like, you ain't got no job, Tommy. So his dad will always say he going to work. And I'm like, where you work at? But he used to, now everything's like coming to me.
Yeah.
He used to leave, he used to go and catch the bus. He used to have newspapers in the little spray thing. And I'm like, you going to work? But he ain't never had no suit on. He ain't never had no, like, and I'm like, but now he was out there washing the windows. That's what he was doing. But
that's work.
That is work.
That's work.
That is work.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying? Because he used to come back with some bread.
I know that's
so
right.
I used to be like, dang, like, you got a good job. You know what I'm saying? Well, in my eyes, back then. But it's crazy because like it was like a total different world. Like when I moved back, when I moved with my mom, I was like, oh, this is what LA is. This is what, you know what I'm saying? But you can be cut off from, like, if you like, I wouldn't say simple-minded, that's a bad word, that's a mean word, but I would say like just closed off, like having a closed mind, you wouldn't be able to see that. And now I see how people can grow up and like they'll just stay where they at.
Yeah, if you're not exposed to it, then you kind of won't know what's out there.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean, they always say like, if you put a goldfish in like a bigger pond, it grows.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was like, because of my circumstances of not living with my parents, family members came to the agreement, well, hey, live with the family member who lives in the most nicest area so you can go to the best school. Yeah. So you don't fall into the cycle. Right. Or fall into the system. I think it was a good decision, and a lot of black girls, a lot of black kids can relate to going to live with family members in other areas, but then they get there and they feel so isolated because the school system doesn't have resources for them. Yeah. The school system doesn't look like them. People kind of look at you as just like the problem child. Yeah. Like, why don't you live with your parents? Why don't you go to after school programs?
And kids can be harsh too.
And kids are hard, mean. I was bullied for majority of my childhood. Damn. So
that's crazy. So I want to go back. I want to ask you a question. Did you feel like you had like a foundation back then? Like a stable, well, I know because you said that you was moving, but like, what was that the problem of not having a foundation? That's the question.
That's a great question. I would say physically having a foundation to call home. That's a good question. I would say I always had a roof over my head, but I didn't always have a home. Right. Like, there's definitely a difference. I think that every black kid has heard their parents say, like, I'll put a roof over your head. Like, this, that, and the third. Be grateful. But there's there's a difference between, like, nature and nurture. Like, there's a difference between providing for me and then also being there to love on me, to grow a child emotionally, mentally. So I felt like I had that foundation as far as, like, physicalities. Like, I always had a roof over my head, always had food and things, but definitely missed out on that foundation of the emotional support at times. And honestly, now looking back, it's honestly because people can only give you what they've experienced and received.
And I'm pretty sure they was out there working. And because that was my problem. Like, I was talking to my wife's little sister, and we was talking about how just not like being touched is low key weird for me. You know what I'm saying? But I never been touched before, like as a kid, or not in that type of way. But I wasn't like, I didn't have that, like the mom like coddle you and do. So when people touch me, it'd be low key weird. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's a handshake. Handshake cool, but then when you start touching shoulders,
or giving a hug,
it's like, okay, that's too much. You know what I'm saying? But like that's what you mean by like the nurturing part. Like, okay.
Now, like I've had multiple experiences with like different living with different family members. Everyone is a little bit different.
Yeah.
But like living in some households, we got that emotional support.
So you had a little hint of it in certain places.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So on my dad's side of the family, very hands-on, showing love, like loud, crazy. And then like the mom's side of the family, I feel like everyone can relate. Like your mom's side is more prissy, more like put together, but also still kind of a little bit more distant. So that can be. I've heard people say that like, I don't feel comfortable giving hugs, or I don't feel comfortable like being touched, and it's honestly because it wasn't a love language taught to them.
So it's something that you gotta kind of like relearn or be taught, but it's like hard. It's like anything, like it ain't gonna all come over time. I mean overnight. It ain't gonna come overnight. But so you said that you had like faith like dips and stuff like that, like young, but when did it become real? Was it when you came over here, like when you moved to LA, or was it like in your adulthood as in high school? A young adult, I mean.
Okay, so growing up, I would say that my faith was the only thing that I had that was like a stable foundation. Right. Because my grandma taught me at a young age, like, love the Lord with all your heart.
Dang, like she put it on you.
Listen, I was young in church, praying, singing, praise dancing, leading children's church when I was a child myself. Like, so I would say that I always had that like faith foundation. I was born and raised in church, which I always say is a blessing and sometimes a curse because you learn the faith, but you don't know how to always walk it out for yourself because everyone tells you what to know, right?
Yeah, they tell you to believe in God,
So I knew my faith. I knew all the scriptures. I knew all the psalms and the songs and stuff, but it wasn't until I moved to LA that it was like, okay, time to put this bad boy in action.
Did you ever walk away from the faith?
I don't think I've walked away, but I've definitely questioned.
Okay.
And I was afraid at a lot to question, like, the Lord, like, God, like, I was a little scared, like, to ask him certain questions. Yeah. But lately I've been reading Psalms. And David be wilding when talking to God.
That's crazy.
And honestly, I'm very inspired at times because he keeps it real. Yeah. And I feel like the Lord wants us to keep it real with him. He wants us to ask the hard questions. Yeah. He wants us to ask the ugly questions. And in that, there's a beauty of getting the answers that you want, like as a human. And then like spiritually, you learn to trust in him more. So
that's facts.
Whew,
I was just talking to Stevie about that. We was just talking about David. Yes. And I was telling her that I was reading Samuel, 1 Samuel. And I was just like, dang, like the difference between Saul and David and how like David always was asking God, going to God, and he was always getting the answers. You know what I'm saying? But that's crazy though, because Saul, like he did what he did, but he just didn't listen. To me, I'm like, dang, God was low-key cutthroat, because I'm like, dang, he just kept the cattle.
I know.
He just kept the little sheep.
But there's some people who have a calling on their life that like God just won't let us get away with other things that other people will.
That's facts.
Like there's things obviously my friends doing on the internet. I'm like, man, if I did that, God would make a fool out of me.
You know what's crazy?
Like
my homies used to always run red lights, and I was like, that's crazy, because the day I'll run it, I'll get a ticket.
You got a ticket?
I'm gonna get a ticket. No,
see,
bruh, like, or it would just be still. I would always tell myself, like, bro, I can't get away with that.
Yeah.
Because it's like whatever they operating on, like nobody cares. You know what I'm saying? But when I do it, all eyes on me. But that's crazy that you said that.
Yeah. So it's definitely one of those things I've had to learn. Like coming to LA, it was okay. You know who I am. You know the word. Now walk it out. Of course, you have to walk it out.
Are you talking about God knowing you, or you know yourself?
The Lord, like knowing the Lord.
Oh, okay, okay.
Like me knowing the Lord, and honestly, I would say trusting that He knows me too. Like trusting that He trusts me with what I'm asking for.
Right. So your faith leap from New Jersey to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Was that the hardest?
That's been the hardest part of my faith walk for sure.
Okay, take me through a few of what's been like.
Okay, so
need some tissue or something?
No. We're not gonna cry today. We're not gonna cry. Okay. I told myself I'm not gonna cry. So I would say, starting out, when I first felt led to come to Los Angeles, I did not have the resources. Like most people, like I was like, I want to go to LA. I want to go to LA. Supposed to go to grad school. It did not happen. Didn't have the financial aid. Didn't have the family support. And I was just like, all right, God, well, I guess I'm just gonna stay back, go to school, go get my master's degree, and just figure it out. Yeah. And halfway through that program, I just realized I just feel like I'm not working to my full potential. And that's where I started to really like question God and get real with him. And he was like, it was around like, I think I was turning 19 or 20, can't remember. But it was around my birthday in 2019, and the Lord was like, ask for me what it is that you want. And I was like, are you sure? You know, because sometimes we try to ask God for like, not exactly what it is, but close to it. Yeah. And I told the Lord, I said, I want to move to Los Angeles to really pursue my dreams in modeling, influencing, in beauty, lifestyle, all of those things. And of course, keeping you at the center of that. And he was like, bet, let's do it. And I felt confirmation after saying that prayer, and I kept feeling led to come to LA. I just didn't know how. I didn't have the money. I didn't know nobody out here. I knew a few people on Instagram, but like didn't know how. I had a few dreams. I was praying about it, and then I started fasting. And by the end of my fast, I just felt led to start a GoFundMe. At this time, I only had like 3,000 followers on Instagram. I was like maybe 2,500, 3,000 people on Instagram. And I was like, who's going to help me move to LA? Like, nobody.
That was brave of you, too, because I'm about to start one right now.
Listen.
I need some rent money.
Right. Because LA rent is crazy.
What's poppin'? You feel me?
Yes. Yeah. And so I by the end of this fast, I chose select people. I chose 14 people to pray with each day that I trusted with this vision.
And how old are you?
I'm 27 right now.
And you was I wasn't there. I wasn't asking people to pray with me. Okay.
Listen, I told you I was with the elders at a young age.
That's where I'm lacking.
Yeah, you see, the elders taught me well. Okay, don't sleep on the elders, y'all.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, I just prayed with those people, and I thank God for those people. And by the end of my fast, God gave me such a strategic plan. It was to sell everything, start to GoFundMe, do a marketing campaign on my Instagram, even though I had like 3,000 followers.
Yeah. What you mean by sell everything?
Like, I had camera equipment.
I
had a bed, like everything in my home.
You sold your bed?
Like, yeah, I sold everything. Like, I was living with my dad.
They said pick up your bed and walk.
Get up and walk.
She said sell that too.
Yes, I sold a TV, chairs. I mean, I sold everything, and I would post it and be like, God, I'm gonna look dumb. Like, I'm gonna look like I'm begging for money. I got a master's. Like, I'm in a master's program. What do I look like doing this? Yeah. Every time I posted, hey, I can come pick it up tomorrow. Hey, can you drop it off? I'll pay you extra to drop it off. So, little by little, I started seeing my faith. As I was putting in the work, I started the faith deliver on what I was believing for. So every little step I took, I got more faith to take the next one. Yeah. We get to halfway. I think we get to like almost the end of the fast, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna put the GoFundMe out there. I'm scared. And then, like, honestly, God, if it don't work, at least I tried. Yeah. My coworker that I was working with was like, I'm gonna donate the first $100. Oh. I said, what? Dang. I said, bet. Nah, it's up from here. So she donated. I start posting and texting people. People are sharing it, donating. I get to like $1,000 within the first week, and I'm like 2,000 short, right? Okay. At this point, oh my God, there's so many things happening, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it. Damn. And I mean, there's family in my ear like, you sure you want to go to LA? LA's demonic. Like, there's so much spiritual warfare there.
Oh, that's crazy.
Like, you're gonna lose yourself there. Don't go. I know someone who went there and lost themselves. I feel like sometimes the body of Christ can be so afraid of this city when we should be called to go towards the cities that need us most, you know? Yeah. And I was getting that little, like, people in your ear telling you, like,
Did you feel anxiety as well in that?
Yes. Like, so much anxiety, so much fear. Yeah. And so I got a DM from a girl who said, hey, I've been following you for a while. I live in Australia, but...
Australia?
She said,
Destiny, we're starting to go for me.
She said, the Lord told me to give you $2,000.
Oh, Destiny, we're starting to go for me.
Let me know if you want me to put it on the GoFundMe or just send it to you directly through your bank, because I know GoFundMe is going to get a percentage.
Oh.
And so I'm in the DMs like, I made a YouTube channel about it, a YouTube video about it. I remember praying about it and just crying. There's a sense of peace you get when you know it's the Lord.
Yeah.
And I prayed about it, and I talked to my dad, because my dad one of them people, if I call him and be like, Dad, I got a body in the trunk, he'll be like, Bet, where you want to meet? Like,
oh, he like that.
My dad like that. And he roots for me no matter what. So I knew if I told him about this, he wasn't going to be like, that's a scam, like, da-da-da.
Yeah.
He was going to give me wise counsel.
Right.
And my dad was like, yeah. And I said, okay, Lord. I was like, okay, Lord, I'm going to go pray on this. My dad, he know the streets, like he know when someone trying to finesse you or whatever.
Oh, that's good. Because you did say you had both sides.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so by the time I was done praying, I felt the confirmation to get the money, and I got everything I needed to move to LA. Shipped here. My car was able to get shipped here. My rent was paid for like 2 months.
Oh.
Like I had everything I needed. That was the first test. And since then, there's been test after test.
The fact that that's just the first one, though.
Yeah.
That probably was like, would you say that was the biggest one?
Nah. And I thought it was. And I think that sometimes when we believe God for things, we think that it's going to start like, it's going to be just like okay, I'm going to get through this and then I'm done. No. It's a journey of trusting God. It's a journey of putting in works. It's a journey of being in your word and praying and fasting. You can't just do it once and then, because you're going to be going from glory to glory. And so glory to glory means in the two, you have to be able to prepare for the next glory. You have to be able to prepare to believe more. Because you're not going to be comfortable with just, no, God is going to be continuously growing you.
That's crazy.
So.
You know, that is crazy. You just spoke to me. Because okay, so where we used to stay, I think I talked to you before about this.
South Central?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
And you talking about like going from a place, and then, you know, like you talked about like from glory to glory.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because like, you know, where me and my wife like stayed, it was like bad, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the area, but like our living situation was bad, you know, like we was dealing with like rats in the walls.
Yeah.
It was just, we had holes in the walls with the rats in the walls. So we know how that made us feel.
Yeah.
And it was just like, wow, you know what I'm saying? The stuff that we had to deal with. So us activating our faith, it was a very low moment, but then it was a very high moment at the same time. Cause you know, like we'll be there, but then God will shoot you up and you're like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
So I remember the transition from us going from there to here.
Yeah.
And, me just knowing, like, I used to look out this window. I'm like, I used to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I used to be like, dang, thank you, God. Like, I used to literally dedicate that, like, man, because he just would wake me up around that time. And, you know, I ain't, like, when you live in the city, like, you don't think of downtown as a place that you would want to stay.
Yes.
The hood is the hood, and that's where you're comfortable at. You feel me? So, and then downtown,
downtown is like
a little sketchy. It's like, bro, you got homeless people.
MLK Boulevard.
You know what I'm saying? So, I ain't gonna lie to you, I always kept it in my mind like, okay, you know, I gotta continue to have faith, but I feel like I forgot in a way because we were here now. Everything seemed like it was cool, you know, like I jumped off you know, the faith leap, or had a faith leap with quitting my job. Now me and Destiny, we both doing photography full time.
Yes.
And I was, okay, God, we striding.
Yeah.
And then it was like we hit a wall, or my leg cramped. Now I'm like, oh, hold on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then we start going through other trying times, but I'm like, God, what is going on? But I'm listening to you and I'm like, dang, we didn't do all the stuff that you was doing. Like you was seeking, we was talking to people. But the fasting, the praying, you know what I'm saying? And I was just like, dang, I'm thinking about all the stuff that I did not do. But you was hearing from God.
But here's the thing though. A lot of people don't know what we don't know, right? Like
we don't know.
I only knew to fast because at that time I had a mentor who was like, listen, there's certain things you can do through fasting.
Right.
Like there's only certain things you can do through being persistent in prayer. I mean, many times we've seen Elijah in the Bible like, and David and so many other people, like, their persistence is what broke through the faith and broke through the break, got them to the breakthrough. And I think one thing that I learned with Elijah, every time he prayed for the rain, he sent somebody to go look for it. So if you praying and you're not looking for the thing that God is, that you're believing for, or if you're like praying persistently and when you don't see it, come back and pray again. Don't stop until you get the promise that God promised you.
That's me.
And so that was like,
I
had to just keep praying. I wanted out so bad. I wanted out of the comfort zone. I wanted out of seeing my family struggle to pay bills. I wanted out so bad that I was like, God, I'm gonna be persistent. I'm gonna fast. I'm gonna do what I gotta do. I didn't even know how to fast. I think that was like my first real fast back then. But honestly, it sometimes gets harder and harder. Like, because going from glory to glory requires more faith. More spiritual discipline. So.
And then if you think about it, shoot, it's physics. You know, like the higher we go, the air get thinner, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And it will get hard. That is crazy, you know what I'm saying? Like, just like how you said, going from, it sound cute.
It sound real cute.
From glory, we gonna go from glory to
glory. People shout, jump, and clap, but when you go to glory, it also goes discipline, like more discipline.
More discipline.
More
crazy.
Spiritual disciplines. You know, more needing clarity and not working off of your own strength. So you might have not done it the way I did it, but you had wise counsel who was able to lead you on the right direction. So
dang, bro, that is powerful. Because I think that's where it was. Like, I always seen my mom, like, I remember my mom, she used to have so much faith. She used to give the rent money to tithing, and I used to be like, what are you doing?
That's a different level of faith. Hold on,
that's different. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you not know, like, the lights is already off. What you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, the water is cold. We don't got no heat. You know what I'm saying? What are you doing?
We've been there.
But then she'll go on she'll catch the bus, and then it'll be $1,500 on the bus stop, and I'm like, oh. And as a kid, I still was like, that was luck, bro.
And you know what's so crazy? I'm glad that you brought up your mom doing that, because there were times, and this is something for the moms watching, like the young parents, even if there's older parents out there watching, like, children pay attention to what's going on.
To everything.
And you might have seen it and not understood it, but now as an adult, you're like, okay, Mom, you trusted God with that much and He delivered. I remember my grandma used to love going to the flea market on Sundays after church. One time, she, I think she like tied probably her rent or something, and I was super young. We go to the flea market, I think, because we were supposed to be there selling stuff to make money. And there was a guy barbecuing ribs, like barbecue ribs and chicken and stuff. I remember this guy because he was like real big, like sweaty, but you knew them ribs gonna be busted. Like,
he had them arms.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, a little jiggle at the bottom. You knew it was gonna be good.
You know what I'm saying?
Probably had some sweet baby rays too.
Hey.
And I remember her tithing her like that Sunday. And she was just like, I don't know what we're gonna eat tonight. And I just remember the guy like smiling at me. And we were like at the table selling things, and he kind of told me to flag my grandma, and I was like, Grandma, the guy, like, he's waving at me. And he gave us so much food. He was like, I don't know what it is, but the Lord just told me to bless y'all with this today. I mean, we went home with ribs, like corn on the cob that was grilled, like real good food. And I think that's just a testament of when you trust God, He's gonna make sure you eat. It might not be a meal that you expect, and it might not be a meal you might not know when it's gonna come. That meal, it may not be a meal. It may be Him just pulling up to pay your rent. Pulling up to put you on the hearts of somebody to pay your phone bill. But you saying that about your mom, like, now I gotta meet her. I didn't, we need that type of faith these days.
No, like I think I lean back on her faith a lot, and now I am trying to activate my own. You know, especially now being married. You know what I'm saying, and then taking on the pressures of like, you know, being the head of the household, like spiritually, what that means and what that looks like. And that requires a lot. Like, I remember, like, it was a couple of weeks ago, like, Destiny had left. And I feel like when she, not just when she here, but, like, I feel like when we are around each other, or when we just doing stuff, like, in general, it's easy for me to block that out because I'm so focused on other things. You know, I don't have to really, like, just think about that one thing. But one time she was on her way to the studio, and she was going to be gone for, like, 2 days. So I'm like, okay, so when she left, I was good. I was chilling. Then I went to the gym, and then after that, I went to the sauna, and then God got me in the sauna. And I'm like, and I start having these deep, and I'm like, bro, I'm dealing with all of this stuff, and I was realizing that I didn't really have that much faith like I thought I did. You know what I'm saying? Because it was just like my faith was just wavering because you can
Yes.
only be so strong for so
Yeah.
long. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And it was hitting me like a ton of bricks, and I'm just like,
Wow.
bruh.
She wasn't here.
She wasn't here. You feel me?
Listen.
And I had to deal with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like without any distraction, anything. Just like God was like, now I got you.
Right.
Like, because normally I play music in the sauna. You feel me? I'd be
Yeah.
like, cool, because I'm trying to get past the heat. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But
trying to get through it.
trying to get through it. You feel me? So like, it was to the point where like, I stopped feeling the heat in the sauna.
Wow.
And it was hot. And I was like, what in the world? And I had a sauna suit on.
Wow.
And I wasn't, and literally I was like, I went from like leaning over to like standing up to like on my knees in the sauna.
Wow.
And I was just like, bruh, and it was crazy because I was like, I had to surrender whatever that I had, like whatever was going on mentally, I had to literally surrender and like kind of start from ground zero again because it was just one of those things where, like I said, I was leaning on my mom's faith, you know what I'm saying? And now that we coming into this new family that we building and just being in a new space,
Yeah.
I have to like
Build your
renegotiate
own.
the terms with God. Like,
Right.
okay, God, this is me showing up now,
Yeah.
and this is,
Ooh, that's so good.
you know what I'm saying? And,
Yeah.
and here is who I am, and this is
Yeah.
this is what I want to do. And like how you said, sometimes we gotta be specific. I mean, specific.
Yes.
I always get it mixed up.
Specific,
That's the thing I always get on my
specific,
head.
you know,
Specific,
we
you feel
are-
me? But I have to be very specific in
Yeah.
a sense, like, because if David can ask for the things, you know what I'm saying, and God give it right to him,
Yup.
and then hearing you sound like David. You got God on speed dial, and I feel like my reception is bad. You know what I'm
Listen.
saying? So I feel like
Wow.
I have to turn my face and seek the kingdom. You know what I'm saying? I feel like what you just, and I think another thing what stuck out to me, you said that before you moved, you were just like, God, like you want God to be within all of the things that you want. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? You want him to be at the center of it. And that's where I had to turn everything around. I was like, God, I want you to be in the center
That's
of
good.
photography.
Yes.
I just started this podcast. I want you to be the center of this. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
decrease me.
Because it's not easy to do all of this.
It's not, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I was doing this by myself.
Wow.
And what was stopping me from asking was pride. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, I got people that can help me.
Oh, that's a word.
You know what I'm saying?
Don't even get into pride.
Look.
But you see how pride almost kept me from stepping out on faith.
Exactly. And also allowing other people to
Pour into
the
you.
whispers.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
And those too, the people who were kind of like
Kind of projecting their fears.
their fears on you.
Yeah, yeah.
And unfortunately, the same people who were projecting their fears are still where I left them.
Mm.
And those are the ones now coming to me for prayer, coming to me for advice. And that doesn't put me in a superior position, but it shows
No.
that you
could do it too.
You could do it too. And that's why it's important for us to seek the Lord
Yeah.
over our family, over our friends, over
Yeah.
our following, because you might listen to the wrong person
Yep.
and miss out on launching a podcast,
Yeah.
getting out of the hood,
Yeah.
being able to come to LA.
Yeah.
Something you said, like leaning on your mom's faith and having
Yeah.
to build your own. That's it feels like that's a part of adulting a lot of Christians can, like, I feel
Yeah.
like relate to, because when I talk to them, I'm like, yo, how y'all feeling in, like, when it comes to finances, like or how y'all feeling like when it comes to being a part of a healthy church body. A lot of us, this is like one of my like first times being in such a big church out here in LA, but being a part of a healthy church, you know?
Yeah.
So there's like different things you have to navigate. You have to learn how to accept people to love you and feel comfortable with, you know, being vulnerable with them.
Yeah.
It's a faith walk.
Yeah.
And it feels like adulting in your faith while also adulting in life.
Yeah.
I think the visual I can give to it is, if you ever go on YouTube and like type in like renovation, like a home renovation, start to finish, they literally tear down everything in the house. They sometimes even have to rebuild the foundation.
Yeah.
But they have to rebuild on the foundation. And for some of us, our parents probably didn't know, or they just didn't teach us to have that foundation on Christ.
Yeah.
But as we're growing and as we're adulting, it's almost like the Lord has to reconstruct every room, every door,
Yeah.
every lock, to teach us how to lean on him fully, how to actually live out his word.
Yeah.
To understand what prayer looks like. Prayer for everyone doesn't look like crying and screaming and wailing. Some people, prayer is just being quiet and being in stillness.
Man, you make me feel so much better because I be at church and I be hearing people screaming and I be seeing people, but I be just there. But you know what I'm saying?
But you can feel it.
Yeah, I can feel it, and I'll get on my knees. I'll pray silently and stuff like that. But I'm like, why am I not a shouter?
You be thinking something wrong.
Yeah, why am I not a dancer?
But
why is
everybody has their own love language with God.
Yeah, that's facts.
Like I be trying to tell people like don't feel like you got to imitate what somebody else is doing.
Facts.
Like the Lord probably has you being quiet because there may be something that you can sense that someone else can't. You definitely can't compare your faith walk to others.
No, not at all. You know what I'm saying? Not always, but I feel like, because when I was a kid, I used to be a follower. That's how I got in trouble and all that stuff, right?
Most of us.
You know what I'm saying? And then as I grown, I remember vividly, it was probably like around 2019, I had caught myself because in LA, if you are like in the streets, we pride ourselves on being real niggas, right? Like, oh, we real, ooh, whatever. So I remember catching myself being like something else, and it was crazy because when I met Destiny is when I start going back to church. So I wasn't going to church for like X amount of years. You know what I'm saying?
Come on, Destiny.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So shout out to her.
Yes.
Yeah, she back there snapping her fingers. You know what I'm saying?
I know that's right.
But I remember her, and she introduced me to City Church with Pastor Judah. And then she was like, she always put me on to new stuff. So I got used to this. I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like, this ain't the shouting. This ain't the, Holy Ghost running around. But I'm like, this is cool. This is different. And then she was like, but I got another church though. And I'm like, Destiny, like, come on, bro. And she like, it's called One Church. And you going to like this one. Watch. You going to like this one. I'm like, all right. So I go and I'm like, oh yeah, this is it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I forgot why I was saying that. I was saying that.
You say you was a follower.
Boom. So when I got there, thank you. See, that's what you got. You just need people that just help you.
Yeah,
just help you, right? So 2019 came, and she introduced me to the church in 2018. I want to say,
wow,
because that was my first year. I went 2018 New Year's. That was my first time at the church, and I was like, oh, they do it big. They have the balloons coming down at 12.
They have the fire, everything.
I was like, inside, y'all got fire? Oh, this is crazy. So I'm like, okay, this is different from my old church or whatever. So 2019 came and I caught myself kind of like just turning into somebody that I wasn't. And I can tell. And one day I walked in my room and I was like, I was putting on my pants. And I was like, hold on, this is not me, bro. And it was crazy because it just hit me. Like, I was like, I got to continue to be who I am. Because the thing was, I was looking at how everybody else was showing up. And I'm like, maybe I have to show up like that. But I haven't had to code switch in like never really, you feel me? So I was just like, why do I have to show up like somebody else?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So then like it was uncomfortable because when I when it caught me and I was like, oh no, I gotta show up like me, like regardless of what everybody think. It was uncomfortable because people were like, oh yeah, Darnell hood, like oh Darnell talk like this, or oh Darnell, and oh he looked like this or whatever. And it used to bother me because like I'm like, bro, you know what I'm saying? Like what? And I used to fight it too. That's why I went to Boise State too. Okay. Because I was trying to run from me. I was like, maybe if I go to a predominant white school, because I want to go to SC, but that's predominantly white as well. But I'm just like, I didn't think about no HBCUs. But I was just like, maybe if I go there, it's out the way. I can just kind of like turn into this person that people want to see. I can walk into a room and they like, oh, he not the hood boy. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things. So I was literally tearing all of that down off of me. And then it just showed up and I was like, oh, I really got to be me. And then I remember being in service and FL was like, God is not going to bless who you pretend to be.
Oh, I knew you was going to say it.
Yeah.
That's what I was like, and it's crazy because, oh man, I think sometimes because of our environment, we're expected to show up a certain way or to be a certain way. Yeah. And so it ends up us like pretending. And I think that's what made me feel uncomfortable. It's like, I was like, God, this ain't me. Yeah. Like I want to be in an environment where I'm challenged, where I have no choice but to pray, where, people aren't comfortable. Back at home, everybody was comfortable.
Yeah, that's true.
Everybody was comfortable with living paycheck to paycheck. Everybody was comfortable with paying, like, you know, rent
Yeah.
late. Like, and I was like, God, I want to break the cycle. So
Yeah.
if that's the
I
case,
still got that.
hey, listen, it's a season
Yeah,
sometimes.
we breaking that
We
off.
breaking that, right?
Yeah.
But we are in an environment where there's people around us. You can have a bad day and drive in Beverly Hills and be like, okay, God, like, sometimes when I drive in Beverly Hills, my faith gets like a little
Activated?
spark. Yeah. Activated. Because it'd be like, wow, this is real.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that in Trenton, New Jersey.
Yeah, that's facts.
But
You know what? I couldn't do that, and I lived like 20 minutes down the street. You know, I had never went to Rodeo Drive. I've never
Listen.
been on there until I met Destiny. She introduced me to the
Wow.
church, and then on Sundays, after Sundays, we used to go to open houses. So mind
yes,
you,
that is the thing. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, out here,
Yeah.
y'all, the open houses,
it's different.
Ooh,
So
it's
mind
different.
you know what I'm saying? I'll be
Yeah.
seeing houses in the hood for sale. I'm like, oh, you don't want
Yeah.
to live there.
You go
Now,
out here.
when I used to look, I used to be, oh, that's a nice house, right? They got some nice houses in the hood.
Nah.
And then
Out here?
we went to Humbly Hills.
Yeah,
And we went to a open house. And mind you, it was like
they
7
got champagne at the door.
Bro, we walked in. I was like, and it was crazy because I've never been like compelled to like record. Like, oh, I still got this recorded in my phone. Like,
Yeah.
the house was so huge. It was 3 levels.
Wow.
Crazy. It was crazy. And I looked, and it was like 7.8 million. I was like, ooh, God, we can't afford that.
Right.
But I'm not gonna allow those numbers to scare me because Destiny had a faith. Like, she got a kid like faith to me. It was like,
I love that.
when I first met her, mind you, I was working, playing football, and I was doing work studies. Feel me? I was like just trying to turn my life around. Like,
Grinding.
just like I was still there, but trying to fight off the hood. Just like not fight them off, but just kind of like get my mind right.
focused. Yeah.
And I remember, I'm like, how are you going to Cabo when you work, I work? How
Yeah.
do you have time to do that?
Yeah.
How are you saving? That's the real question. You know what I'm saying? And she was like, I don't know, I just take a piece here and I just do this. But I was just like, what in the world? And I was just seeing how she was maneuvering. And then when we would go to these like open houses and stuff, and I'm like, this is possible?
Yeah.
Like, people can really live like this? And
Yes.
like, and it was, cause she got a kick out of it. She used to record me have my reactions to like seeing these houses. I didn't know one house can wrap around the block. I'm used to duplex,
Right.
one house,
Yup.
apartment. You
Yup,
feel me? And I'm
apartment.
like, this whole thing is a house.
Yeah.
And it was like, it just blew my mind.
And there's people out there who can actually afford it
and can act and comfortably.
live comfortably. Yeah.
And
like,
so when you talked about it's something that happens when you in Beverly Hills and it sparks you.
yeah.
It do spark you because then you don't see Hondas and
Yeah.
Tauruses. You start seeing Bentleys, Range
Yeah.
Rovers, Mercedes, and you like, oh, this is their regular degular.
Their regular day.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's not to say that, like, if you drive a Honda
It
or
ain't
whatever,
nothing-
it ain't
please don't
nothing.
take- yeah,
right.
please don't take
like,
that
we're
wrong,
not
yeah.
saying that
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
a bad
yeah.
thing,
Yeah,
but
it
for a lot of us who do
Because
want,
we drive a Nissan.
I drive
So
a Honda Civic.
You feel
okay?
me?
I
Let's
love my
keep
Honda.
let's keep it a band here. You know what I'm saying?
Hondas run for life.
Hey, they do. Trying to
Good
tell
on
you.
gas.
For real. True.
But for those who like really do have a passion and a prayer to get out of what they came from,
Yeah.
it is inspiring. Like,
Yeah.
on days where I'm like, dang, God, like, what is the thing you promised me? Sometimes I got to remind myself, like, how far he took me.
Facts.
Sometimes you got to remind yourself of the times God showed up for you.
Yeah.
And simply driving through Beverly Hills or driving through downtown LA and seeing these skyscrapers, like,
Yeah.
that reminds me of God's faithfulness and his
Yeah.
goodness. So,
That's so true. I be sitting up in here, and sometimes I forget too. It's
Yeah.
crazy how like we just talked about how God took me and Destiny from here, but then now we here, and then you see it so much. It's like, oh, these people come down here. It's like, bruh,
Yeah.
oh, y'all got money. And I'm like, nah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you forget because you see him all the time now, and you forget the view, and you forget all the, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then like I said, when God hit me, it was just like know how far I took you.
yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, because just like how he gave it to you, he can take it away.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's one of
Yeah.
those things where now I'm like, I got to be grounded. I'm like, you know what?
Listen, and I think too, I had to stop telling myself, like, be grateful because God can take it away.
Oh, okay.
Like, I had to stop telling myself
I can see that. I can see where you're
And
going
here's
with that.
why, because the word says that the Lord came to give us life and to give it to us more abundantly.
Mm.
Where I don't think that Jesus died on the cross for our sins for us to get comfortable. I don't think that he allows us to, like, get that one thing we were praying for and then just be okay with that. It's like we're constantly going to have to be dependent on him.
Yeah.
So we're now here in this around the skyscrapers, and now that you've achieved this, it's like, okay, Lord, what else can we do together?
Yep.
I want to partner with you more. I want to open up another studio. I want to be able to buy a home.
Mm-hmm.
It exposes you to almost like believe more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
it
saying?
Unlocks you, it allows you, it's just like like how you talking about level to level.
Mm-hmm.
It's like once you like, okay, if we saying we was back at that level, we didn't see this level, now we're here. Now God gives us a glimpse of the next one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, that is true.
And lately my prayer has been like, God, build me so I can build other people.
Facts.
Like, bless me with the salary so I can give more, so that I could pay somebody's groceries, so that I could, my goal, like, by the end of this year is to be able to pay somebody's rent.
That's
like,
a blessing.
That's like something I really want to do.
Yeah.
And I'm just praying for the right opportunity, the right partnership, whatever it is to come through for me to be able to do that.
That's good.
But you shift the thinking from that like scarcity mindset of being like, I don't want you to take this away from me, to like, okay, Lord, give me the discipline to be able to steward this well, and the faith for me to believe more. Because the more I trust in you, the more I depend on you, the more I can do. Yeah,
that's true. Because me and my mentor, we was chopping it up, and I was talking to him because we were talking about stewardship.
Yeah.
And that's like, we rent this place out, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. And that's what it was. It was just okay, like, God, I pray that you allow us to have a space to where people like us can come in and create.
Yeah.
And then, like how you said, and the real reason why it's just not me here on this podcast talking to a camera is because I'm like, it's people like you that need to be heard. Like, I didn't know all of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and what you're saying can help somebody else.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying?
And I wanted to.
And it will.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But but that's the reason why I never, like, because people like told me, like, why don't you, like, sit and talk? And I'm like, for me, like, it works for other people, but for me, like, I don't know, maybe because this is what my coach, he told me this a long time ago. He was taking me home, and he was just like, Darnell, he was like, I see that you clap for a lot of people. He's like, it's okay for people to clap for you too.
That's good.
But I've always been the person to be like, nah, but you do it though. You know what I'm saying? Like, push somebody else.
Yeah.
But I feel like I always, like, I'm now, like, being able to, like, allow people to clap for me too. Yeah. But I'm also not closing the door to, like, shining light on other people too. I don't know. Maybe that's just something that I don't want to leave me, because I don't feel like I'm supposed, like, I think Jay-Z said, like, he said, you look weird being the only millionaire.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, on my vision board, I have, like, I printed it out. It's like people sitting at the table, and I had to mark their face black because it was like white people. So I had marked their little face black, and I was like, all right, like, because I don't want to be sitting at the table by myself. You know what I'm saying?
That's good.
Like,
and you want to be able to build your own table.
Yes.
And you have to teach others how to build their own table so they're not dependent on you.
You know what's crazy?
And
I've been dealing with wanting to sit at other people's table.
Listen.
And it's been messing me up.
I've been telling myself, and I had to tell myself this, because coming out to LA, you see so many opportunities, and there's so many things you want to be a part of. Like, there's just so much, right? And so there were a lot of tables that I thought I wanted to sit at.
Yeah.
Until I got a little bit closer and realized, oh, that's not a table that's structured off the Lord. I don't want to sit at the wrong table and be fed something that's not going to nourish what God is calling me to do.
Good.
I actually sat at a lot of tables where I was like, y'all conversation ain't fruit. Like, it looked pretty, but this ain't about to nourish nobody. That, like, we talking money, but how is this actually going to help people out here? We see homeless people every day on the streets in LA. How is what we talking about actually going to help somebody? So for me, it's like, okay, Lord, at first, when I came to LA, I wanted to sit at a lot of tables.
Right.
I mean, you see these big brands, big companies, celebrities everywhere in LA. I'm in Target and seeing, like, my favorite celebrities from Insecure and all these other shows I love. Yeah. But until I had a seat at a few tables that I realized wasn't serving God, is like the moment I kind of had to take a step back and be like, these are good, but I want to be great. And I want to be at the center of God's will. Right. So, Lord, show me how to build my own table, and also show me how to teach other people how to build their own table. I remember I learned this, it was like a quote or maybe a Chinese proverb. I don't know. Basically, it was like, if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day.
Yep.
But if you teach a man how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime.
Yep.
A lot of people want you to sit at their table so that they could just feed you for the day. They don't want you to learn their strategies, their wisdom, their knowledge.
They don't want to
be
extend
able
the
to.
ladder.
No.
Yeah.
So why not pray and ask the Lord to teach you how to do that and to be around community who can expose you to new things like Destiny did for you.
Yeah.
So that you could build your own table that is centered around what the Lord needs to be done in this earth.
Yeah.
So
that's good, because that's what I was also struggling with. Like I was like how you said, I'm working with these people, and you got to think about it. On the outside, this is somebody's favorite artist,
right?
And I'm like, man, but I had to sit back and I'm like, God don't want me to be just this person's personal photographer. He don't want me to just like, because that's me thinking on a small, minute level.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm supposed to be doing something grander than that. Like,
yeah.
And the whole time the enemy is telling me, oh no, you good right here.
Right.
And like how you said, feeding me for a day. That's what that was.
And it literally feeds you for a day. The check gets you through the 2 weeks barely these days. Like, you know what I mean?
No, for real.
Like,
it was barely getting me through the rent. I said, okay, we might need to ask for a raise. You know what I'm saying? But like how you said, like, and I always said, like, you know, like, I remember telling somebody this. I'm like, man, nobody really gotta like, don't give me a fish. Like, just teach me how to.
Yes.
I remember saying that a lot, but like I said, you tend to forget those.
You tend to
those
forget
things, especially. That's why they say don't get lost in the sauce.
Yes.
Because when you are around that, like, and then another thing, like people will tell you, when you with these people. That's that person's success. That's not your success.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You got these entourages that is like, oh, since they popping, I'm popping.
Right.
But you go home and you miserable. And that's what it was. It was just like, dang, like, man, bro, like, I ain't, you know what I'm saying? It's like, dang, like, God,
it's all said and done.
You know, where is the stuff that you said that, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, it ain't showing up, but I'm asking for the wrong things, or I'm saying secretly to myself, I'm saying to myself, I want these things, but that ain't what God wants for, for me.
Yeah, it's definitely a journey out here, like trying to balance serving others while building your own.
Yeah.
And it's not a problem to work for other people, but I think for some of us who are called to be leaders, to be Joshuas, we can't get away with being comfortable. We can't get away with eating off of somebody else's success, because God has our own. It don't even feel right at times. There's times I would get in trouble sometimes just because I would want to do more. Yeah, and people be like, "Yo, what you doing? You doing too much." Yeah. And I'm like, "What you mean?" And like, it's one of those things of like, people expect you to stay in your lane,
right?
But I'm not used to operating at a place of mediocrity or just staying in my lane.
You know what I'm saying?
PT said this he said this, and it's like, ever since then, I have just really been checking myself. He said, people will always applaud your mediocrity. Like, that was so deep, because especially in LA and on social media, you can post something, make it seem like it's something that it's not, and everybody will applaud you. But unless you know that, like, this, you could be doing more, or you could be a little bit more sharper, like, you won't really, like, be able to fully embrace that full moment.
Yeah, that's true.
So I've been challenging myself, like, okay, am I operating out of a place of excellence right now, or mediocrity?
Yeah.
Because either way, I can get away with doing half. Like, you know, trying to just and like and people gonna applaud, but that's dangerous.
I got a question for you. So how about this? Say one thing that can help, like a word of advice that you can help somebody else with the same moves that you made from New Jersey to here. And like how you said, that wasn't even the biggest leap for you of faith. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So speak to somebody's faith that somebody may be like struggling in right now.
That's a good question. Okay, let me think. I would say to lean into the people who want to see the best version of you. Be very specific for what you're praying for. And I also would say, just because you don't have the support or don't know where it's going to come from, it doesn't mean that you're not called to do that thing. Because sometimes we just like, I don't have the resources, I don't have the money, I don't got the car, I don't got the lighting, I don't have the equipment, so I can't do it. But I think in the praying, in the community, in the quiet time with God, He'll give you the answers, or He'll put you on the hearts of people who can help you find them. And I would just speak to someone right now, because I think we all have been there, just needing people to be there for us, to pray for us. Shoot, this week I was in a moment where I was like, I can't even pray right now. I just need somebody to pray for me.
Yeah.
And my friends called me and they prayed for me, and I was just crying, snotty nose. But I was just like, wow, God, that got me through the rest of my day. So like, lean into that community, lean into being able to ask people for help, lean into the specific prayers and the quiet time with God. And like, he gonna do the rest. Seek first the kingdom of God, and all things will be added unto you. Okay? And they really will. And that ain't just the tangible. That's the peace beyond understanding.
Yeah.
That's the joy. That's the, God, I don't know why I feel like something great is coming, but I just feel it on its way. So I'm not even going to worry about what's in front of me.
Yeah.
That's the, Lord, I don't got gas in my tank, but I'm finna go to this shoot because I know I got to be there. Like, that is faith in itself. So, yeah.
That's good, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much
So
for
proud
sharing
of you.
that.
Yeah.
For driving through this crazy traffic, you know, and just, giving us gems, man. You dropped a lot. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Most definitely. Appreciate it.